All right, we're back. Got another full court press. Got my boy Christian. How you doing, man?
How we doing, everybody? How we doing?
All right, awesome. We're back. We NBA season's over, dude. The Golden State Warriors get it done. Game 6 in Boston. Fourth ring for that core. I really want to throw it to you. Like, what do you think about the finals? What are your final thoughts? And maybe, how is this how you thought it would play out? I know you said Warriors in 7. Did it look like you thought? Anything that you learned?
Well, I definitely rode two horses with one ass when you originally asked my prediction for this series. I said Warriors in 6, Celtics in 7, and we laughed about it, but it ended up being Warriors in 6. I just, the Warrior style of play, I just didn't think it was really conducive for a game 7. And I was going to go with the bigger team on the road, but it didn't come to that. As you alluded to it, man, the Warriors 4 titles in 8 years. Man, I was stoked going into the series, man. I was like, out of all the injuries we had during the regular season and in the postseason, I was like, you know what? Like, we did get a good matchup. The Boston Celtics, a top defensive team going against, a really great offensive team, but also a really good defensive team in the Golden State Warriors. We had star power, you had legacy, you had all the narratives that people enjoy going into it. And to be honest with you, it was kind of underwhelming. It was it was
Underwhelming.
it
Okay.
was it was very underwhelming. I felt like the narratives and the storylines were significantly more entertaining than the actual play.
Mhm.
Um, Steph gave us fireworks in Game 4, tremendous. Like Boston, man, that their crowd, but for the playoffs, by the way, they take it. Their crowd was phenomenal. Maybe a little too phenomenal for their own team to handle, because I believe the Celtics went 6-6 at home in the postseason. So it didn't
Hey,
seem like they
those
knew. Uh huh.
those 9 o'clock Boston games, man. Everyone's drunk by tip, like so they're
Bro, they
just
were
letting everyone
fucked
have it.
up. That crowd was amazing, man. Like, they took over games, and yeah, game
Yeah,
four
but they
was
had a
really good.
bad road record.
You said what?
Their road record was not impressive. It was crazy.
No,
Like,
it wasn't like I was like, I don't know, but looking at the series, man, it was cool and everything. Shout out to the chef for getting his first Finals MVP. Should be his second, but uh, yeah, I mean, Draymond, was terrible for about 80% of the series and gave us a vintage virtuoso in the closeout game. Also in Game 5, he looked really good, but I don't know, it was just underwhelming, and it left me wanting more from a basketball standpoint. I was fulfilled with the narrative. I enjoy the Warriors. We're a Laker fans, so fuck Boston. But as far as the actual play, uh,
I think this speaks to how much the NBA actually relies on these super teams and the star players to really carry them. What we saw is the really only superstar in the series that you could say definitively was the best player on the floor.
yeah,
One team had it, one team didn't. I picked Boston 7, and I just thought team wise, like they're longer, they're bigger, they're more athletic. I recognize the youth, and that could be a challenge, and I think it showed itself, especially like what was it, Game 3 when Draymond kind of punked them, like just from the
oh my
start.
goodness, punk
Um,
them.
and not in anything he was doing on the floor, just like speaking and like energy wise, he just punked them.
Game
Um,
two, game two, game two.
Game 2, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's where I think you saw the youth. Jason Tatum, 24 years old. Obviously, he's got to get stronger, on these drives. And
hmm
it's
Brown
one of
alluded
those.
to it though. Brown alluded to your point. He said Draymond was in all of our head. He literally admitted that after Game 2 that Draymond took the game over like that, and he was really annoying. But I'll let you finish.
Yeah, no, I just think I was surprised, honestly. And it's crazy to say that because Steph was the man, dude. And he really, I think you felt it. Game 4 was phenomenal. What do you give?
Mm-hmm.
43. Even in the closeout game, though, some of the shots he hits, going against that crowd that you're speaking of, and
Mm-hmm.
the length and athleticism that Boston have, that was one hell of a performance by Steph Curry. So I thoroughly enjoyed his performance. But I'm with you. The rest of the basketball was kind of underwhelming, right? Um,
Sloppy play, 22 turnovers in a closeout game by the Boston Celtics. Jesus Christ! Like, there's a clip on YouTube where you can go and look at the turnovers that the Celtics had in their last game, and it's literally embarrassing. It's like a G League team out there throwing the ball around, airing passes, and it just was like, really, at home? Like, Tatum was just, he played awful the entire series. And it was
Yeah.
just, I guess, there's a reason why we acknowledge that, Dirk beat LeBron in 11, right? And he won
Yes.
finals MVP, and Dirk was on fire that entire postseason. But the reason why we don't put more respect on Dirk Nowitzki's finals performance is because of how poorly LeBron played.
Hmm.
The narrative 10 years later, or I think 11 years later, is more so LeBron melted down, not Dirk balling out. That's kind of what the feel is a decade later. And looking at this series, Steph was phenomenal, but I'm sorry, as great as he was, the other dude that was opposite of him was as terrible. So I think that's why I'm kind of more so like,
Soured. Yeah.
it's a little sour. Usually you want those bang bang. You're exchanging blows. Like you get a game, I get a game. Even though LeBron wasn't really that competitive in those Cleveland series with Golden State and Kevin Durant, we still got to see Kevin Durant and LeBron exchanging like 30-point triple doubles in the finals. Like you still got to see the two dudes go at it. And this one kind of left a little short for me.
I think people don't realize how spoiled we are that LeBron James was in 8 straight finals, man. Like, you have to understand that. Like, no matter what, because as crappy as the East was, you could say whatever. That guy, you had to go through him to win the title. You had to go through him. You knew he was going to show up. And if you're coming out on how good the West was, they had some dudes. The Kevin Durant's and Curry for those 2 years, 3 years, whatever it was. And then before that, the Spurs were no joke in 14 and 12. Like, but LeBron's the constant. You know what I mean? So of course we were spoiled. And a lot of the finals before LeBron area looked like this. 08, dude, we love that. And I know it's a different era of basketball. You know what I mean? We loved that series, especially as Laker fans. Game 7 was amazing. You get the Artest kiss and everything, but it was ugly basketball, man. It was ugly. Like, so a lot of finals look like this. The LeBron James factor is a real thing. Not having him there, you're not going to get the same product.
It's funny that you brought up Braun because I wish I could give the people at home the full stat. But I saw something when I woke up this morning, and out of the last 109 NBA Finals games, LeBron has played in 55 of them.
Yeah, it's nasty. and this Warriors team, to their credit, they've been in almost just as many. You know what I mean? Not
No,
almost,
no,
but like
I would love to see the full. I would love to see the full stat of like the last 109, what that looks like between either Curry or the Warriors. I'm sure it's something like what we could probably guess is probably something like 90 out of the last
yeah.
109. It would be something like that. So that's crazy.
It is crazy, but good for this organization. Happy for the fan base. Happy for the players. My favorite player, Steph Curry. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, man. Next year should be better. I think we'll get healthier. Everyone will get healthier around the league, hopefully. And get an influx of new talent. It'll be a good year.
Real quick before we close this out, so happy for the Warriors dudes. Clay specifically. This man, if you guys are not on social media right now, you guys can just go and look at how Clay has spent his last 2 days. This man is living life, and just everyone who's familiar, who loves basketball and uh, his rehab process, you just can't be happier for the guy. Honestly, like went through a lot, but he's definitely giving us some laughs right now in the off season. He's definitely stole the show. But yeah,
Awesome, man. We got 2 more days here until the NBA draft. We've been in the lab. I know you guys want it.
you guys been asking for it. Y'all been asking our mentions, our DMs. Everyone's asking for this episode, man. You guys wanted it. We brought it to you.
All right, we got the official big boards coming in hot. All the prospects. I think we're gonna give you 14 today.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some shout outs at the end. We'll see where we're at. But who do you got at the top, man?
At the top, I have Paolo Banchero. I think he's the best player. I think he's the best player in this draft, if I'm being honest with you. I think his floor is higher than a lot of people's ceilings to put it at, to put it at that. But yeah, I like Banchero, man. I just think his game translates really well to the NBA. Also, he's a little bit of a cheat code just based off the position he plays. I look around the landscape and I'm looking at these power forwards that we got in the league, and I'm kind of like, barbecue chicken. Like I feel like the league is really fiending for some top power forward play. I think it's time to reset that a little bit, along with him, Jabari, and some of these other dudes. I think the power forward position is about to get a little bit of a makeover the past couple of years.
Well, like size wise, you're looking at a body profile of like Ben Simmons,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, almost a LeBron James like in senses, not the athleticism, but just like size wise, he's big, and like Ben Simmons, he's got the handle. This guy is fluid on offense, man. Shot creation, I have a number one as well. In the mid range, he's got the jab step pull ups. He could hit you with spin moves on the drive. He's got a good enough first step to get by guys.
You run the break.
Run the break. He's actually a really good playmaker, one of the best playmakers in the draft. Consistently makes the right pass. I think he was about like 4.5 assists over the last 12 games. He had even a game where he had 16. So against the Syracuse 2-3 zone, and that defense is meant to make you be patient, make you read the defense, and make the correct cross court passes. So to me, I saw a high level of basketball IQ even. Banchero's the real deal, dude. I think he's got all NBA potential.
No, I think he's an absolute stud. He's going to hit the floor running with the number one pick. I mean, it's Orlando. We'll see if they take him, but honestly, they shouldn't pass on him. I know people are saying they're thinking Jabari or Chet, but Paolo out of those three to me is the safe. The crazy thing is, I think he's also the safest bet. Like, I think his upside, I think sometimes when we say safest, we think, oh, maybe he doesn't have the upside. No. Don't get it twisted. Like, this man's upside is still stupid. But I just think like I said, I think his floor is higher than a lot of dudes' ceilings.
It's a real thing, man. You're talking about these guys, and they for some reason they're like, well, he's the most NBA ready. But they don't think he could get better. Like,
right?
They see like these guys have deficiencies. He can get better still, guys.
He can get better.
He's not the only Jabari Smith, Chet, they're not the only guys that could get better. Like Paulo can get better, right? Defensively awareness, he sometimes will let a backdoor. He gets, killed on screen sometimes. So can you use him as a small ball 5 right now? Probably not. Eventually, especially in today's league, you might look to that. The guy's 6'10", 240 pounds, whatever it is. Like he could be 6'11", we heard even.
He's still, yeah, he's 6'11".
The guy, he could still shoot better threes. He could take some time, but you look at the form, you look at his mid-range stuff, I could see him at least become league average. So of course he could
all the measurables and tangibles to be an all NBA caliber player. He has all of them. Like you said, his deficiencies kind of were like on the defensive side of the ball. That can all get fixed. He's athletic enough. It's not like the guy can't move. Some of it size. Like come on now, bro. The dude can move. Like I don't know. That's first of all, that's also coaching. I want to address this real quick at the top of this pod because we've had conversations about this in the past when it comes to these drafts and everything. I feel like a lot of the pressure gets put on the players, but people at home, like, you gotta have an environment conducive for talent to flourish and to get better. And coaching is a part of that. So some of these dudes that we feel like we could have seen a bigger jump from year 2 to year 3 or whatever the case is. Look at their situation. Look at where they're at. Some dudes get their development stunted by their own organization. You know what I'm saying? So Paolo, like, you get him in a situation. His best situation to me is in OKC. I mean, that's for any of these top 3 guys is to go to OKC. That's where I would want to go. But no, yeah, he, like you said, bro, he can get better. I'm excited.
Well, Orlando, it's crazy because all you've heard was the Jabari, the Chet stuff, but I think recently Paolo's odds went from plus 1,600 to plus 400 to go number 1. So the hype is starting to fall behind Paolo now, and it'll be interesting to see in a couple days here. Number 2, I had Jabari Smith Jr. out of Auburn, another 6'10" guy, one of the best jump shooters we've seen coming out, and at that size, it's really impressive, especially in today's game. He could be a guy you could probably play small ball five, unlike Paolo. He's not going to give you the rim protection stuff, but perimeter defense, like he's going to be a high end 3-and-D guy at 6'10". He could be an all-star, a scoring machine even. There's some question marks, but did you have him at number 2 as well?
I do. I do. I'm a little. I was reluctant, and then I had to realize like my reluctancy is based around him being the number one, being the best player, not exactly number 2. He's good enough to be the second best player on my board. Um, like I said though, I got some questions though. I love his jumper and everything. He's not too physical. He's young. I believe he's the youngest of the big 3, being Chet, Paolo, and Jabari. I believe he'll be 19 his rookie year. But I don't know, man. I'm worried about the strength a little bit. Like, is he a little too finesse? Like, is he gonna just turn into just an elite 3-point shooter? Like, people have said the Paul George comparisons. I went back and had to look at some grainy Fresno State footage of Paul George to really try to see. Paul George was a lot more physical. He had the jumper, but he was a lot more physical coming out of Fresno State than I've seen Jabari be. So from a physical standpoint, that goes into your handle. That goes into you attacking the rim in the half court. I'm a little concerned. I think we've had the conversations off camera. Is he more of a Rashard Lewis or a Paul George? Is he somewhere in between that? I think those concerns is why I don't have him number 1, but it's good enough to be number 2.
I mean, currently right now he is in between that, right? Because like to your strength point, he doesn't really put pressure on the rim with his driving ability. I think he shot about 52% around the rim actually. And with his size at 6'10", that really needs to improve.
Yeah.
I mentioned he does struggle like off ball defenses, like a rim protector, even help defense. But as far as like physicality, there are things I do like, especially in his post game, right? You see him often use that shoulder to kind of bump off guys. And then the way you see him play defense on the perimeter, man, he might be the best perimeter defender in this whole draft class, man. At 6'10", he gets up on guys. So I see physicality on that end as well. At least, he's not afraid of contact necessarily. Do I think he needs to get stronger? 100%. But when I see somebody pounding guys on defense like that, when he's not getting as many touches as you should because of how the guards are going, I like that guy. He's a dog. He's there to win, and he's not letting the other things get to him. I hear you. It's a concern right now, but I would bank on the development of that.
I'm hoping for it. I need that handle to get better as well. Like, the thing is, like, the shot is so pure and so money. I just want to see, like, the rest of his game really develop offensively as far as, because at that size, I need you to be a threat going to the rim. I need a hand. Like, I don't know. There seems to be a lot of development. You mentioned the shoulder. He means well with the shoulder, but he's bumping dudes in college. I don't know if he can bump these dudes in the NBA and get that shot off. I don't know. Like, I've seen him bump down and back down, but it'll be interesting, man. I don't know. He's I'm not gonna put a red flag, but he's definitely a yellow flag for me. Caution. I feel like he could be taken a lot higher than probably where he should be taken. He could be somewhere more around. Looking back on the draft, he might, should have gone probably like 7th, maybe 8th.
Well, back on your Paolo, when you're saying he's the safest guy, I think what you can bank on and is a safe assumption is he's coming into the league with an elite skill at 6'10". Like, he's going to be an elite shooter coming in, right? You're talking about coming into transition, trailing guys. He could spot up, and he's got enough, like, it's so fluid, man. Like, this guy's jumper, like, if you guys haven't seen it, you got to go look
ridiculous.
at it.
It's ridiculous. It's automatic is an understatement. It looks so nice.
He's high confidence player. Like, he's just going to be able to shoot over to top of guys, man. And at number 2, I think I want to say I have no flags because, at worst case scenario, I get Rashard Lewis. That could be a really good defender on the perimeter at 6'10". I could play him at my 3. He could play in the finals. I'm not worried about that.
But at the number 2 pick, if he gets out of Scotty, we got some dudes coming up on this list, bro. We got some dudes coming up on this list that you might look back and be like, they took him over him. We'll see how time will tell. time will definitely tell. It's going to be interesting for sure. But I agree with all your points. I agree with all your points at the end of the day.
All right. I'm wondering who's your number 3 guy.
My number 3 guy, I actually have. I got AJ Griffin.
AJ Griffin, number 3. Okay.
I look at the way he played, and he looks like a Jimmy Butler. He looks like a Jimmy Butler with a jump shot. The athleticism, the handle, like this dude looks like a straight up bucket getter. Like I was just infatuated with how good he looked at scoring the rock. It was ridiculous.
I think offensively he's pretty insane. 6'6", easily the best 3-point shooter in the class. We talked about like Jabari and how smooth it looks. The numbers, I know he's got a weird looking jumper, right, with that wide base. But he was almost 45% on 4 attempts. Like he was knocked down.
Have you seen his handle?
So his handle's nice, right? He's got like those between the legs step. He's got all those like 1-on-1 moves where he to like create the space. He's very effective off the dribble shooting, strong driver, right? He does have a handle to get spots. 3 is a little high for me, man.
I would take it. This man, he's just so polished.
Hey,
he's just so offensive. Scott, let's be real. Offensively, how polished is his game?
Offensively, he's pretty good, man. His shot's really nice. He could drift, left, right.
He could finish around the rim. The physicality that he plays with. No, it's a reach. Right now, it's considered a reach. But mark my words, everybody.
Yeah,
that people are gonna miss out on this kid. I think he's projected somewhere after 10.
Everyone's the crazy thing about this draft from like 7 to 28. Like you find people everywhere.
that is very true. But yeah. What are your thoughts on him?
I think I already kind of went over some of the offensive stuff. I think defensively, he's in a overall defensive ability, man. He's a slow lateral movement guy. You often saw him in 1-on-1 opportunities just get destroyed, and he was also not focused on backdoor cuts. He often died on screens. There wasn't an aspect defensively that I was like, man, like, all right, I see something there because he looks slow, dude, and he could improve that with some NBA. It's really gonna come down to how determined he is to get to get good at it. You're not gonna rely on him for any playmaking either. So to me, I saw a rotation wing shooter. Maybe a knockdown shooter, you know what I mean? But AJ Griffin, I could see it. I see what you're talking about. Just, I have a lot of questions on the defensive end.
I agree with you. I guess this would be a reach based on what we've seen. If you know what, man, you summed it up beautifully. It's gonna really come down to how good does he want to be.
Yeah.
If he's got the Jimmy Butler dog in him, I'm not gonna lie, he might be the best player in the draft. If he's got that burning inside of him, he could really be something special. Like, the one thing I really did not like about him, if I'm being honest with you, kind of encompasses everything that you just said. How invested was he really?
I didn't. Because you didn't see it on defense.
No, and that could be a situation where is it a Kyrie at Duke? Kyrie did not look invested at Duke whatsoever. He was trying to get to the league. Some dudes have that. It's not the greatest thing, but maybe we really haven't seen how good he could be because he wasn't invested. It's a double-edged sword. I don't like that mindset, but it leaves a lot to be desired. So it's definitely a reach, Scott.
No, I see everything you talk about. I have Jaden Ivey 3. He's a 6'4" guard, and I know how you feel about guards, man. But this athleticism, this explosiveness, this first step, this is rare. You do not see it. He's going to come in. He's going to be an effective guard off the rip, just by his ability in transition. He's just an elite athlete, man, and you better watch your head when this guy's coming down the floor.
You see, I'm not big on this dude. I look at him and I'm like, first of all, he doesn't go left. Every time you force him left, he's got to get it back right. Which, hey, at the end of the day, like, going to left is a means to an end. If you can't force me left consistently, and I have my right, he's got to go to. He got to spin. He'll spin his. He'll go left, spin right. Um, I don't know. I usually we see these guards come up, uber athletic. He can shoot a little bit. I don't know. I'm not big on him. I just think there's other dudes in this lottery projection where I feel like could really give a team more, if that makes sense.
No, I hear you.
I just think he's super athletic. Honestly, he's an athletic freak, but is he running my offense? What would his comp be?
I think
Can you
he's
give me
going to
a comp?
be. So when you hear the athleticism and stuff, we see these athletic guards. The guys that come into my mind are Dennis Smith Jr. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Those type of guys, and that, to me, he's even a different athlete than him. That first step. I hear you. Everything you're saying about like, is he going to lead the team? I see him more of like a combo guard almost, and it's
Okay.
a lot of people don't see that as a favorable thing. I think in today's positionless game, it kind of works a little better. He's going to get by, guys, man. He's an efficient finisher for his size. He shot 60% at the rim. He was higher than Banchero at the rim. He's just constant pressure at the rim. And if you get guys as a guard to get constant pressure at the rim, good things happen for your basketball team, man. You get help defense that you suck in the defense in today's game when everyone's shooting threes. It's going to translate. Also, the guy had multiple games of 8+ free throws. He's just good enough of a passer where he could be a secondary playmaker. I don't want him being that first guy, like you're saying. And I hear you. I don't think he's a guy in like 3 years that I'm gonna be like, man, he's the difference in winning a championship.
Oh,
Because of that style of play. You know what I mean? Unless he really improves on his like mid-range game, his feel for the game. A lot of times he does predetermine his moves, his passes. He gets stuck in the jump pass a lot of times.
because he's slated to go to Sacramento, correct?
I don't know, man. There's so much fire around that pick, and everyone's saying that he's slotted at number 4 pretty much. That's kind of what you
I'll
hear.
put it like this: even if he's 4, or let's say he goes 5th and he goes to Detroit, I'm just looking at like, I don't know. I just don't see guards like that changing life. And if I'm taking a dude that high, I need you to at least be like a like a Scotty Barnes, where maybe Barnes isn't going to be the best player on a championship team or the second, but definitely going to be an instrumental part of the direction of today's NBA. Is my only reservation when it comes to guards like him. The guy can hoop. I don't want to sit here and poo-poo that. He can hoop. He's a baller. I can't wait to see his game in the NBA, to be honest with you. But that's just, like from a team building philosophy. If I'm picking that high, like that's a dude I'm taking with like the 9th pick.
I don't disagree with you, man. I just want this to be clear. Like, I think he is the 3rd like best player currently right now.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know if I would pick him right there either. I think I'm with you as far as like you see the value in the wing, the 2-way wing, and it's always been like that. But now you just get reminded of it every year. The 2-way wing, the big man that's versatile. There are things, there's a reason Curry's like the only guard to win, titles pretty much and be the best player in the finals. Say what you want about Tatum, but like you can't name too many other guards that could have done that. Probably, you know what I mean?
Oh, I can name a couple other guards in this final series that could. Iverson would have went off. Isaiah Thomas would have went off. I can give you some dudes 6'3". Wade would have ate late Tatum's lunch. I can give you some guards going against what we saw from Tatum. I can give you some guards that could have did what Curry did for sure.
So, Mike, is the guard becoming like the running back in the NBA? Like, there's so many of these guys coming out.
I hate to say it. That is a great Scott. You might have hit the tail of donkey. You might have just hit it. Think like
no matter how good the prospect, like he's a 2nd-round guy.
Well, yeah, because what we've seen, bro, it started with Magic, and then it went to Penny. We got Braun. My point needs to be about 6'7". In today's league, wings are points. That's what we're starting to see. The point guard is starting to get taller, bro. That's the days of your point being 6'3" and being the dude that's like facilitating the offense. I think it's gone, bro, because we play through the wings in today's NBA now. We really do.
There's
So
just
I'm
this weird like thing, like this philosophical thing inside me where like I take the best player available, regardless of position. If you're picking at 4, like a Sacramento, and you haven't made the playoffs in like 20 something years, whatever it is now, eh, by not taking the best player is how you end up in this situation more times than not. And it might just be for the
I have
asset, but yeah.
I a billion% agree with you. There was only one problem. You said Sacramento. They got issues, bro. What did they do 5 years ago? They took the best player available. They took De'Aaron Fox. They took, and the crazy thing is, he's
But then they take
regressed.
Bagley over Luca. So like
It,
we've seen it both ways. You know what I mean? Like philosophically, if they just took best player available year after year, they're in a better position.
was it
Because
obvious? Because they wasn't the only team that passed on Luca. Now they
I think
wasn't
it
the only team
should have
that
been
passed on
right.
Luca. Well, I mean, clearly, who else passed on Luca? The
Because
Suns passed on Luca.
yeah, but the Luca thing was just that was literally prejudices. That's literally what it was.
Like he said, prejudice. What you mean? What you
I mean, the
mean?
European guy, dude, like they're like, oh, he's soft, he's too slow. All the narratives, you know what I mean, like that come around with the white player, the European white guy, and it's not his fault. Because we've seen it with Bargnani, with Milicic, like the list goes on and on with these guys, right?
Especially
But
that high, yeah.
yeah, but none of them have the pedigree of Luca that were winning uh, titles in Spain at his age, like MVPs at his age.
this is this is very true. This is very true, and understanding how heliocentric the league was, and being able to. But remember, when he came out, wasn't there word that he wasn't going to be the point guard, and then wasn't Jason Kidd like, no, you're going to be a point, like, or like. I think Carl something came out in Dallas that they were going to experiment, and he may not have been the point. He like, no, look, I'm the point guard. So like
Look, that
again,
lasted long.
that right
Who was
again,
right?
this comes back to people not front offices not understanding, and they have a box and they try to put. I think you're right, Scott. They try to put Luca in a box. They saw his size and was like, "We're," because I think that was a thing. Like they weren't really gonna. He wasn't gonna be like a full-fledged point. I think they
Mhm.
tried to also do that with Ben Simmons when he came out, and he was like, "Nah, I'm a point." He was like, no. He came out and said, "No, no, no, I'm gonna play point guard." So
Yeah.
like you're right. There were some biases and some prejudices regarding Luca, but if you're Sacramento and you have the opportunity, Scott, you're telling me they need to take Jaden Ivey.
I think so. And if not, if he's not part of the long term future, I think his game is at a high enough level where you're going to have enough value where you could flip that in the future if you have to.
Okay, okay, so it's gonna be a situation where it's just an asset at the end of the day.
Worst case scenario.
I'm not. You know what? I am not mad at that. That's okay. I'm feeling it.
Um, I want to take a quick break, man, and then we can run down the rest of this list.
Gotcha, gotcha.
All right, we're back. Um, it's going to be a theme so far early on, but I think we're going to disagree again here at number 4. I have Chet Holmgren. I have similar question marks that you do. 7-foot guy, under 200 pounds. Often saw him kind of get attacked, maybe pushed off his spot a little bit. But to me, I still see a toughness there and a fight. And he's still, even though he's getting pushed around a little bit, he's still affecting shots, getting blocks. And then offensively, the guy's coming with an ability to shoot the ball. It needs to speed up a little bit, right? That jump shot, but the ability is there. I don't know. I see a lot of offensive upside with this kid, so I would be comfortable taking him at 4. He has the size, the skill, everything you want.
I let me see what I have. I have Benedict Mathurin. Um, hold on. I'm gonna address Chet Holmgren first, real quick. I get it with Chet. I think if I was picking outside the top 10, I would probably feel a lot more comfortable taking a flyer on the guy. I just think he's weak sauce. It's
Really?
weird. 'Cause it's really weird. But like, there's just certain prerequisites for myself
Hmm.
that if I see, I'm just done. Like we all have those things that you can't unsee it, and like, or you have those things that you see and it draws you to a player. You're like, yo, that motor, there's that dog or whatever. I see Chet's game, bro. I'm sorry. I just feel like I could back him down. I
Hmm.
have a very big problem with how weak he comes across on the film. Film does not lie. The fact that I see a lot of his blocks come against, or at least the half court set, a lot of the blocks that I see, a dude will back him down 7 feet and then doesn't have the talent or the skill level to finish over him because he's a big dude, and then you'll block it.
Like off the
Whereas
post.
off the post, that dudes in the NBA, they back you down 7 feet. These dudes can finish over you.
Not
They're gonna
Jason
keep.
Tatum.
Not, not Tatum. Tatum no. Tatum no. You know what? I don't know if it depends on how the man is feeling. I don't know what's going on. I thought he was hurt. Apparently, he's not hurt. I don't know. I don't. Tatum is a weird one, but you're not wrong. But I'm looking at Jokic. I'm looking at Giannis. I'm looking at Anthony Davis when he's right. I'm looking at even a Carl Anthony Towns. I'm looking at an
Mm.
Embiid. Bro. These dudes are going to push his shit back in. He's not. He's he's too. Bro, I can't do it. I can't do it. He's too. And then the other thing is this: who's he backing down?
Well, so offensively, he was actually really good finishing around the rim last year. He was 80% on non-post up attempts. He's got a
He
lot of
should be.
touch.
He should be. He's shooting over minutes in college. He should be.
But there's a level of touch you see there. I think that could translate because now, yeah, he might not be getting like the easiest like drop step, on somebody where he's just gonna like put it in. But in today's league, I think touch can get you far. He's really effective in like dribble handoff actions, right? He was 40% from three. In transition, you see him trailing, you see him pulling up. He in high school was actually a really good playmaker. You really didn't see it much in Gonzaga, which is kind of
Uh-huh.
interesting to see what that turns into in the NBA. Because if you watch like his U19 film, his AU film, stuff like
Oh no,
that,
I
like
remember back in the day. No, I saw his videos. He was out here looking like magic.
yeah, so like that's in there, but you don't really see it as much as Gonzaga. I don't know what they're asking him to do
Uh-huh.
necessarily. Uh, he's gonna have some trouble with Giannis and Embiid. You got me there, man. I can't lie. Like,
Not just them, by the way. Jimmy Butler is gonna back him down.
but
He's gonna back him down,
the
and
length could still matter, dude.
Butler's got enough. Butler's got enough, and he's got enough post work. He's not blocking his shot, not consistently. Once they back him down, they feel like, oh, stop it. Like it's one of those. Do you remember? I think it was who was it? I think Paul George was trying to back down Kawhi. This is before they teamed up. And there's a picture of Kawhi's face and he's smiling and he starts grinning on the block. If you guys have not seen it, go look at it. But I'm pretty sure it's Kawhi guarding PG when he was in Oklahoma. And Kawhi starts grinning out the side of his mouth when Paul George is backing him down. Now, Kawhi is just an athletic freak. We saw this man block a dunk with his pinky. So we know he's just an athletic. He's a strong dude. That's not more about PG being weak than Kawhi is strong. But it's going to be, once they fill out Chet, all I got to say is this. There's no one in this draft I'm more excited to watch on opening night. Easily is Chet. I will be tuning in, and if I'm wrong, I will come on this very pod on a platform, and I will say, "Stop! He's the next great White Hope." I will come out and I will acknowledge it. But as of right now, I would take a flyer on him outside the top 10.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna get to my boy real quick. Benedict Mathurin. This dude is nice. Hopefully he'll fall into the Pelicans. I would love to see him as a floor spacer with Zion. Valanciunas. They got McCollum. They got Herb Jones. Like, bro, Benedict is one of the better shooters in this draft. So I'm really looking forward to see how his game looks and the Pelicans can get him. I really do because they're going to be already such an exciting team next season.
Matherin's nice, dude. I love Matherin. You're talking about a guy at 6'6" that has a ability to shoot the ball off the move that's gonna be a weapon, dude. He's not only that, like his shooting, um, but just like athletically, the guy is jumping out the building, right? You see him get up in these like transition opportunities. Um, he's fast in the open floor, willing backdoor cutter. So I think, man, I would love to see him in a team that plays kind of with movement, something like a Golden State. Obviously, they're not up here right now, but he's a nice prospect. I'm very excited for Matherin. He's also got dog in him. Where you look at the way he plays, he wants it, man.
The athleticism that he brings to the table too. He's gonna be one of those dudes that he might be a little wasted if he doesn't go to the right situation. Not wasted. He'll have a good career. He'll still be a good player, but maybe like a flashpoint in his rookie season. That's why I'm pulling for the Pelicans to get him, because the excitement because oh my goodness, their lineups would be ridiculous with this man. Because you're gonna have Zion back. I'm not sure if people have seen the photos. Zion looks amazing right now. He looks like he looks impeccable. He looks to be in impeccable shape. So I hope they get another floor spacer, because if they get another floor spacer with Zion and they do like a 4-1, a 4-out-1-in system, it's gonna be dangerous. It's gonna be a scary time for the Pelicans, bro.
Yeah, the one thing that does worry about me is like sometimes he can really force the issue just driving into traffic. Also, like defensively, he's got focus issues. He would die on screens. He was kind of sloppy on closeouts. He's got the lateral quickness, though. Hopefully, playing next to a guy like Herb Jones kind of ignites you, or like a Zion, and it gets his big dunk.
You get
like
Willie Green. Willie
yeah,
Green could do wonders with this kid.
I like Matherin a lot. Number 5, I had Keegan Murray. What are your thoughts on Keegan?
I wasn't that big on him. He's nice. He's gonna be a really good future 3-and-D player. He's got great size. I'm loving the wingspan. I don't know, any team that gets him, he's gonna be ready to play. I believe he's gonna be 22 years old when the season starts, so he's got a lot of experience. So I'm looking forward to seeing him play. I think what you see is what you're gonna get. He's gonna be a nice rotational player. Yeah, not an all-star, no all-NBA.
I have high level starter under him.
Yeah, high level starter.
He's got the size, the wingspan. He's got the shooting ability. He's got the motor. A really good athlete as well. You see some of these dunks he has in transition. He's also consistently cut, so I think he's going to be something he's going to complement any lineup that he's in. But like you said, the ceiling probably not that high, right? He doesn't really have any ability to create his own offense.
No.
But he's not going to turn the ball over either. But you're also not relying on him to initiate, playmaking for others either.
Well, he also comes across as a very heady player, and I guess, with experience, you're going to have that. So, no, I think you called it perfect, a high-end starter.
Yeah. Who's your number 5 then?
I actually had Jeremy Sochan.
Sochan number.
So is it Sochan or Sochan?
It's something like that. It's one of the two. I've been saying Sochan.
Okay. I'll call him Jeremy then. Bro, he's nice. He could be a top 3 player looking back at this draft. He's going to start this season. I believe he'll be 19 during his rookie season, bro. He's got a lot there. I love his defense. I love the stroke, bro. I'm loving this kid's athleticism as well, bro. Like, I'm a fan.
Sochan's nice, dude. He's going to come in defensive impact. He's the one guy in this draft class that I can legitimately see being able to guard 1 through 5 and like legitimately do it. Because a lot of people, you say that like, oh yeah, they guard 1 through 5. They definitely do not.
It's amazing how that's getting thrown around. Oh, he can guard 1 through
every day.
He can guard who? Stop it.
There's maybe like 3 guys in the league that could do it, honestly. Sochan has possibility to do it, right? He's 6'9", but he's got a 7-foot wingspan and impressive lateral quickness. Defensively, he just sticks to players on the perimeter.
You don't see that from young talent either. For him to be like the tape that I was watching, kid is 18 years old. That's impressive. Like that's sometimes you look at somebody, you're like, oh, he got it. He got it. He got it defensively.
That was Scotty
He's
Barnes
just
for me last year.
Scotty. There you go, Scott. That's literally what they've got it. You can just see it.
Yeah. The difference though between Scotty Barnes and this guy is he's not a threat off the dribble or in the post. So scoring to me could be a real challenge for him. He's also not really a rim protector. I think you're getting an elite perimeter defender for sure, but and he's got some real ability. He's got a good feel for spacing, cutting, so he can like kind of play that dunker role. Maybe he's got some good passing upside, maybe a little bit of a playmaker as well. Maybe he could be a Draymond type at best, all defensive candidate.
So a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, no, that's a winning player. I'm not knocking him. It wasn't a
no, it
was not a shot.
There's people at home that might be, they hear that. I gotta make sure people at home know. He said a Hall of Famer. So I got to let people know, put some respect on Draymond's name. Like, I know what you meant, Scott.
Yeah. No, defensively, man, he's impressive. He could switch. He shows hard.
He can win some depoys.
Yeah, he recovers well. He's got, he's versatile for sure. I like Sochan a lot. Sochan's nice. I had him a little lower, but I'm not. It's the variance in this is so high with these guys, and we're not saying this is what they're gonna be because nobody knows, right?
No,
nobody knows. I have next Jalen Duren.
I was about to say you got Jalen. I know how you like your Jalen's.
Jalen Duren, 6'11" center. He's going to come in, dude. I think he can also be a defensive team candidate. You're talking about a guy with almost a 10% block percentage with a 7'5" wingspan at 6'11". He's got great timing, positioning down low. He does really good at job of staying vertical, right? So he's not really going to be somebody that could get caught in foul trouble a lot of times. His strength, he just looks like a man already. And the guy, he's impressive, dude. He doesn't bite on the perimeter. He's, not the quickest, so he might be able to get cooked by guards here and there, but I don't see him falling for feints, any crossovers, anything like that. He gives them a chance, at least to himself a chance to recover and block the shot at the rim. I like Duren a lot.
No, I agree. He's already, and he's incredibly young, so he's still got a lot of untapped potential that we haven't even reached yet. I believe he's 18. So no, I'm a fan. He's actually he was next on my list.
Okay, so we're kind of eye and eye, at least with Duren.
No, yeah, Duren that dude.
What's nice about him too, his rebounding's impressive, man. He's an effective rebounder defensively as well as offensively. We saw it, and offensively, you're going to get a guy that can run the floor. In the pick and roll, as far as being the roll man, he was really. I think he's showed consistency in making the catch and making the right decision, whether the help defense came from the corner to hit the man in the corner or the cutter off the roll. He also looked comfortable at least shooting mid-range jumpers. So as he develops, that could be another weapon for him in the mid-range there. After Duren, I had Mathurin, sorry. And then after Mathurin, we already kind of hit him at 8 now. I got Dyson Daniels, 6'7". He's a guard. Was in that Ignite program, right, on their little tour. This guy is just like we saw with Sochan. He's going to make a defensive impact coming right away. He's going to be the best defensive players in this draft. He's got a good combination of size, foot speed, feel. He's a good lateral movement. He could guard pretty much 1 through 3s. There was plenty of times where we saw him picking up players full court. And he did a really good job of just limiting opportunities in the pick and roll, right? Every time there was a screen, he was able to navigate, kind of keep it high, keep the guard from really turning the corner, also guarding the big man. This guy, he gives you a lot of high-end level stuff from the defensive end, especially for 6'7" guy with length. Oh, I think we lost Christian.
I was muted. That's on me, everybody.
There you go.
Dyson, not a fan. I'm looking at his game. He's still super young. I believe he'll be 19 up until next March. So he's a young kid. I'm not in love with his offense. His first step is pretty bad, but I don't know. He just seems. Where do you have him at? This is your seventh.
8. I have him at 8. I think offensively, right? He's a really talented passer, man. He's a quick ball mover. He displayed his feel for the game and vision. He often hit guys cutting or drop offs from the guy coming from baseline. He did a lot of cross court stuff, driving kicks. He's also a guy a la Alonzo Ball who likes to grab the ball and push it in transition, keeps his eyes up. Also, like this is a guy at 6'7" guard who had 2 offensive rebounds a game. So there's a high level of motor there, where he's going to make an impact. He's going to play hard. And at this spot, like I want guys that could give me minutes that I'm going to be comfortable with. Yeah, he's got to get better shooting, right? He's a sub 30% shooter on catch and shoot opportunities, a lot of them unguarded. But I think he had solid mechanics where you could see improvement, especially if he goes to a team like New Orleans, who has or Toronto, who Oklahoma, these history that teams that have history of developing jump shots.
Toronto would be prime for him. I have that written down in my notes. That he's got to go somewhere like that because he's young though. I don't like killing young dudes, bro. People don't understand like 18 to 19, 19 to 20, 20 to 21, and 21, 22. Those are jumps. Like in basketball, like when it comes to
we've seen it with Keegan Murray, dude. Keegan Murray was like an undrafted. He was nobody, and then now his senior year, he's going to be a lottery pick.
Exactly. Like the jumps that these players can make. So that's why I always mention their age. Age is important to me. I like knowing like where are you in your progression? Where are you? Like why were you in college for 2 years? Why were you in college for 3 years? I want to know why, and I want to know whatever those deficiencies were, did you improve on those deficiencies as to why you stayed in college? I just want to know. So Dyson, I'm gonna shoot him some bail because he's incredibly young and he's got some impressive tape for someone who was 18. The tape that I saw, man was 18 years old.
He's also in the Ignite program, so he's going up against grown men, right?
100%.
He's not going up against these college kids at his age.
No,
these are 24, 25-year-olds who are
so all
man, playing hard to get a paycheck. Like
absolutely, these dudes are fighting. These dudes are absolutely fighting. So I got to give him credit and keep in mind, if his game was the same way, but he was 21 years old, I'd be saying something completely different. But him being 18 matters. So no, I mean he's nice. He's nice.
Who's the next guy on your list?
I have who's my next guy? Ousmane Dieng.
Ousmane Dieng.
Bro.
It's fan favorite for me.
At this point, why not? Like I'm at we're at what 8? We're at 8 still? Or
yeah,
9?
We're in that range. We're in that range. I don't know where he is on your list.
At this point, why not? This dude's got everything. This dude's got a handle. He got a nasty handle. I like his set shot. I like his athleticism. I like his pace. I love the pace that he plays with. I don't know how to say it, but I don't want to say it's functional or unorthodox, but it's not your typical pace for a ball.
He doesn't look like he's getting sped up.
No, whatsoever.
He plays at his own pace.
I'm big on him. If I'm around that 8 to 12 range or whatever, I'm going to go take him. I don't like it. Also, bro, if you're a small market team, you got to shoot for the stars. Yeah. You got to shoot for the stars.
Giannis.
I want to get a thank you. You need a LeBron if you're Cleveland. If you're in Milwaukee, you need a Giannis. If you're in New Orleans, you need an Anthony Davis. You need a Zion. You need a freak. I will go get this kid because I don't need just another 3-and-D rotational player and I can't sell tickets and I'm never even going to be a playoff caliber team. No. You're picking at this point in the draft, you go get this kid. Yeah. Go get him, believe in him, and develop him. He's nice, man.
Well, I think what's impressive about him is how young he is. He's 6'10", but his defensive impact was really impressive, right? He's got a high defensive potential. He routinely guarded like point guards even at 6'10". He had good length, lateral movement. He was really good in the recovery. He had a good feel for help defensive like responsibilities. You know what I mean? He was really good at contesting rotations, and he was really good, man. And not only that, but for 6'10", one of the best ball handlers I've ever seen at that size coming out. The guy is just fluid with the ball. He's got a lot of those like hezzy drag dribble moves. He's really good in the pick and roll. He reads the defense well. He can hit the roller or the open man in the corner. He's got a nice floater game off the pick and roll. 6'10" to be like a top of the key pick and pop guy, like or pick and roll guy who can potentially become a shooter is going to be really nice. So I'm with you. I would take him. I would take a flyer. Why not? I'm trying to hit home runs as well at this point. Like if there's
He might be
the
the
NBA
biggest
draft
home run
is
in this lottery. He might be the biggest home run.
he could he could actually become the best player. I would not be surprised if
I would
like
not be surprised either.
5 years, but like yeah, Usman Chang, all NBA.
If Sacramento, honestly, if I was picking for Sacramento, I'm taking Usman. That's just me.
Wow.
Why not?
Well,
Why not? Why would I go get Jaden Ivey, bro? I just got De'Aaron Fox. Like at this point, I love what you said, an asset. And that's a really smart, astute point because you can always flip an asset. But if I'm Sacramento, bro, fuck this. I'm telling my team who has the biggest upside. And then the tape also doesn't lie. It's not just like measurables, like a combine. Oh, he jumps the highest. He lifts this, but he bench presses this. It's also the eye test. Like you said, at his size as a ball handler, we haven't seen many dudes with that type of size have that type of skill. So I'll tell you one thing: the eye test. Who looks more impressive, Chet Holmgren or Usman? Because when I look at it, for the people at home, when I look at it, I see Usman for me flashes way better on an eye test than Chet Holmgren. I had to say it. Eye test for me, Usman. If you didn't tell me what the hype was and you laid their tape out for me, I would take Usman. And then to find out he's a year and a half younger than Chet is, I'm also kind of like, interesting.
well, the thing with the Usman, right? And you bring up the Chet thing, which is really interesting. I like that you brought it up because you talk about like he's gonna get a shoot pushed in. With Jank, the film is even worse, man. Guys putting him in the basket and literally having no contest. At least with Holmgren, you see him get pushed back, but he's got the length and he's able to make a contest or even a block at times. Jank could put nothing on that, right? And also the strength and impact his drives to the rim. And I hate doing this. I don't want to bring him down, but I want to.
Jank can ball handle. Everyone that says Chet Holmgren can ball handle, no, he can't. Stop it. He is not handling the ball in the NBA. People need to stop saying that.
At least in transition,
people need to stop. People need to. I can bring the ball in transition if there's no one around me, Scott. You can bring the ball. We got to stop this. This combine skill shit, I get he's 7 foot. Chet Holmgren is not ball handling in the NBA. Let's stop that right now. He's not Giannis. He's not going to be. He cannot handle them. He's not quick enough. His handle is nowhere near quick enough. I look at Usman. He at least has a handle. He like the difference.
No, he does have a handle, dude. His handle's nice.
He has not a combine handle. He's got like a real playing. He has a handle. Chet Holmgren does not have a handle. They will lock him up so quickly. He's not going to be able to dribble in the NBA like that, bro. That's not happening.
So I hear you with the Jang thing, right? I think he's got a nice handle in space, and you saw him do it in pick and roll, like I mentioned before. But he's not also like at least when I watched his tape, I didn't see a lot of like downhill creation either. So he's not somebody that's gonna like break a guy down and go dunk on it. At least that's not what we've seen so far. And once he gets stronger, we can see it. So I'm not mad at it. I'm just saying like I have the question marks as well with Jang.
And like we said, he might be the biggest reach in this, as we've discussed. So I agree with you too. I'm not 100% sold. I wouldn't waste a top 5 selection on him. I don't think this draft is that anemic to reach that high that early. But around the time, like around this selection, like 9 to 12 or whatever, I would absolutely take a fly on the kid.
All right, who do you have next on the list?
I got Malachi Branham. I like it. I see from the eye test, it looks like he plays slow, but he just has his own pace. He kind of has like a Chris Middleton, Caris LeVert type package to him. You know, he's going to be a really good mid-range shooter. He's athletic. Again, he looks like he plays slow, but I see Middleton. I see Middleton and Caris LeVert with a little bit of Jaylen Brown in there. He can stroke it. He's one of the better shooters in the draft. I don't know. I like Malachi.
I like the Karis LeVert thing. I think he's a really good shot creator, especially like in the mid range, right? Pick and roll play.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he's got a 6'10 wingspan, and usually with
Mm-hmm.
guys, they kind of struggle shooting. This guy, he was he was over 40% on catch and shoot jumpers. You know what I mean? His 3-point shot was really impressive. He didn't take too many of them, but the efficiency was there. He's going to be an elite mid-range shooter. He does have a great pace, and he uses his body at times, you know, with a little bump offs to the side step stuff. Uh, he's got a nice quick release off the bounce, 1-2 dribble pull up game. So I really like Malachi Branham. I think he's a lottery guy. He has potential to be like a secondary playmaker, even good floater game with his right. I like Malachi a lot, but just like a lot of these guys, I think there's defensive question marks. Um, he's not the quickest lateral mover. You saw a lot of times on the tape he's getting blown by. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? In the one-on-one situations. One of the big things with Branham that I did not like is in the NBA, man, it's coming off floppy screens or like stagger screens from the wing. He struggled mightily, dude, on the tape where he's guys are getting like 10 plus feet of separation on him coming off the screens on like staggers and floppy plays and stuff like that. And the shooters are just too good in the NBA. They're too good at movement to be, you know, getting caught in those situations. Can he get better at that? It's going to be an effort thing and a will to do it.
Coaching system, all that good stuff is going to matter. If he goes somewhere with a defensive pedigree or culture, and he's got to carry his weight, my concern or reservation would be going somewhere that they don't play a look at defense and like the tone isn't really set defensively, and now his tape is going to be impacted, his effort's going to be impacted. The like all those things are definitely concerns for me, but I try to err on the side of you haven't heard anything like these dudes not being able to be coached or anything like that. So if I don't hear anything like that, I try to assume best case scenario. I'll be a lot more critical once they're drafted and I know the situation they're in. I'll be like, oh no, this guy can't be in Charlotte. Like they don't even try to play like once they get to the system, then is when I'm like, yo, he was exposed like this on the college level, and now he's going to be in a culture where they don't even practice this. Like that's when it becomes more of an issue. But right now, I try to stay a little bit more. I like your analysis, by the way. I just try to stay a little bit more glass half full because I don't know what their situation will be at the next level.
Hey man, I hear you, and like I like the point of something I hate doing, especially is it happens a lot of times when you're talking about like two guys you like, but a lot of times to prop the guy over somebody else,
You
you have to
have to
like kind
shit
of
on the
you
other
have
one.
to attack the other guy, and I hate that
Yeah,
shit. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
these
yeah,
are
yeah.
kids at the end of the day, and like I said at the
Yes,
top, nobody knows. You know what I mean? I
yeah.
but at the same time, like I'm talking in this like list, it's splitting hairs. So you got to look at everything, and it's such a big decision, especially in the top of that first round, where you need to take every anecdotal evidence you
Uh,
have into
A
making every
hundred
decision.
percent. Because if I'm making a decision, I'm a GM and I know I'm coaching a team that doesn't play defense. Certain dudes, I have to have my reservations on because I either don't have the coach in place or my star player doesn't buy in defensively. So I don't know if that's the greatest environment to get a dude that's not going to. I don't need another player not buying into something he doesn't do well. That all those things absolutely matter. So like even after the draft, I will we could do a pod about weaknesses and how that translates or just fit for every single team. And I think that's what a lot of things you're saying could come into play. I could be like, Scott, this guy is not set up for success. This team does not have a history of development. This dude can't shoot. You know what I'm saying? That's when all these things, once I see where they land, I can get a lot more critical. Because then I'm just like, well, at this point,
Yeah.
nature, nurture.
And in Branham's defense too, like I mentioned his wingspan and stuff. Like he's got the length and the athleticism where like I would take a chance on it. You know what I mean? Because I think the ability's there.
Well, yeah, he can shoot too. So we need
Yeah,
shooters in today's league. He can shoot.
yeah. Next up on my list, I had Johnny Davis. I know you're not as big on him as I am.
Absolutely not.
This guy, for me, defensively, he's got good lateral movement, and with his size and potential to guard three positions, in my opinion, he's excellent as far as on the defensive end, navigating screens and closing the gaps to stay in the play. He's a strong driver as well on offense with a quick first step. I think he gets low, he attacks closeouts really quickly. And that's something you're going to get in the NBA, especially as the space grows, right? And this is something for Jaden Ivey as well that I think he could be better in the pros than in college because of the spacing. All of a sudden, they have more room to make, the moves on the perimeter, first step, attacking closeouts, that type of deal. He often seeks contact on the drive, right, to eliminate the shot blocker. Now you can say in the NBA, guys are stronger. It's a little harder to do that, and I'm saying you might not be wrong. But I think he also showed ability to finish with the offhand. He got to the free throw line often, and he's really good at pulling up off the pick and roll in the mid range, using step backs, pull backs, leaners, even fades at times with a quick release. He's going to get his shot off. The motor, you see it, it's high. I would buy into the Johnny Davis stock.
It's kind of funny because everything that you said is true, and maybe you should be a GM for some of these teams because maybe you know how to use the guy. But watching his tape, you're gonna laugh when I say this. The feeling I got from him was just he seems like a player the New York Knicks would draft. If you know, you know, and that's all I'm gonna say about Johnny Davis. Maybe every player they draft is supposed to be like the next big thing, and they're always incredibly underwhelming or not set up for success. So maybe it's not an indictment on the player, but it just seems like a player the Knicks would draft. And they always seem to get those dudes where, again, I feel for these guys. I think Obi Toppin is a nice player. I think Kevin Knox was a nice player. I think a lot of their players are nice, but you watch them at the next level and you're kind of like that's what Johnny Davis was for me. I could just see him playing the Madison Square Garden and being underwhelming, and they're looking to trade him in a year or two. That's just how he just, I don't know. I don't really have a use for him, to be honest with you. I was very
but we're at that point where it's like 10 to 13, you know what I mean? So there's only usually historically in these drafts, you're getting like 3 to 5 real players. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And he screams the New York Knicks, which I don't know, but right here I have Jaden Ivey.
Okay. So next on my list then was actually Shaedon Sharpe.
Oh, okay. That's actually interesting how that worked, but yeah.
Yeah. So where'd you have Sharpe then?
I have Sharpe right after Ivey.
Oh, okay, cool. So Sharpe's he's a really polarizing prospect in my opinion. Right. We don't have much tape on him. He didn't play at all last year. The only things we have to go off is some of the U19 stuff, some EYBL games. He's got the size, the athleticism. He's got shot creation, confidence, and shooting potential, the finishing, right? We saw him. Dude, the guy's vertical explosiveness is just insane. He's dunking on everybody. Especially when he gets head of steam, like get out the fucking way. This guy's gonna put it over your head. We also saw like 360 layups from him. He does a lot of like these like up and under a la Derrick Rose type finishes.
Real quick, I gotta set you up for this for the people at home. In a couple seconds, Scott will inform everyone at home the thing that he doesn't do, and I wanted to kind of set it up. I kind of wanted to lob it to you, but yeah, you can finish what you were saying. But I just want the people at home to be aware that you're gonna tell them in a second what he doesn't do.
Well, man, I'm just saying, like offensively, the guy he's got a lot of like scoring prowess, right? And he's got the mindset of a scorer. With that being said, a lot of these score mindsets can go to the extreme. And this is one of those cases, I think. You watch the tape. I've watched full games of this guy. He does not pass the ball, man. I don't know how these guys are grown men in the NBA. You're not going to get away with not passing the ball ever. And this guy really just does not pass the ball.
No, he doesn't. That's all. Hey, that's all I got to see. All those things that you said he is. Like, go look at his tape. He's entertaining as hell. Man can get his own. He can get his own.
It's weird because of I don't know how translatable that is because we're talking about the NBA. This isn't high school. High school, you can have that kind of like on the shit type mentality. You know what I mean? Coming to the NBA,
you're
maybe
also going to get touches too. And everyone on your high school team isn't as talented as you are, so you're going to get all the touches. Dudes are talented. They may not be the star player, but even a dude making $17 million a year that gets paid to shoot threes, he's gonna want his touches. That's a grown man. Like, he needs those touches. So like, you make a great point. How translatable is that? Like, it's just
he's just very tantalizing. I think to me, it's not my cup of tea, my style of basketball that I like. As far as players, you guys like Jordan Clarkson, that type of deal. You know what I mean? I don't know. But I see it. I see it as well. He's more athletic than those guys. The only guy left on my list is Mark Williams. the 7-2 center out of Duke. His rim protector, his best hope is to become like a defensive anchor. 9'9" standing reach. This guy's only got he's going to go on his tippy toes to dunk. It's pretty impressive.
Last one on I got two more. I got Mark Williams,
Mhm.
the center. I really enjoy Mark Williams. Hopefully, he goes to a team potentially like a Charlotte. I like his size. I watched the game where when he went at it with Chet.
Mhm.
I mean, that was interesting. It didn't let Chet could do anything with Mark Williams. So
Yeah.
this kid is a stud. I believe he's 7 foot, 255 pounds. Like, bro, he's a beast. He runs the floor incredibly well. Nice touch around the rim. I like his hands. That was the thing. When I see a big man of that size, how are his hands? Hands are like the low key, probably like the most important thing for me when it comes to a big man. And bro, he got touch. Like I saw him catch a lob and like palm it in his hand and like throw it off the glass, like while he's moving in the air. And I'm like, woo! I'm like, you get him with a point guard and you can just throw it in the other cylinder. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I'm a fan of Mark Williams. I'm a
Mark
fan
Williams is
and
good.
he moves the floor really well. So that was basically it. Some of the dudes, kind of in the lower echelon of mine was, I mean, Chet isn't on my list, but like, yeah,
Yeah.
I think that was it.
Before we take off, any trades you see happening? Maybe in the top part of any teams you see trading out of this draft, or maybe trading back, making some swaps.
I think right before we hopped on to pod, I told you about the Brian Windhorst report that apparently Charlotte's looking to package one of their lottery picks. They have the 13th pick and they have the 15th pick. Uh, in association with the Gordon Hayward contract to make
Mm,
room for retaining Miles Bridges. So that could be really interesting if a team, especially like the Lakers, I'm a homer. I gotta mention it. We need to get in on this draft. Everyone knows we don't have a pick. Our pick went to New Orleans. So if there's any way that we can get in on this and get that 13th or 15th pick, that could be huge. Um, yeah. So that's what I've heard. Have you heard anything? Obviously, we can acknowledge the swap. The Christian Wood, there was a trade that went down. Christian Wood and some throwables from Houston to Dallas. So Luka's
yeah,
not playing with Christian Wood. Basically, it ended up being for, I believe, the number 26th pick later on in the first round. So
a lot of fire around Sacramento. I think one to watch out for is potentially Orlando dropping down to like 3 to still get their boy Jabari. A la like a Markel Fultz, Jason Tatum situation.
okay,
Um,
okay.
but yeah, man, I think that was good. I think we got a lot of information out there. I can't wait to see what happens now.
No, I'm stoked. Thank you guys for listening to our pod. We made it through an entire regular season. I didn't know it was going to
And
get this
playoffs.
far, but and the playoffs, it was pretty badass. So, yeah, season one is officially in the books.
All right. Till next time.